Morning, everybody. Okay, so this is Paul. He is from Green Salon Collective. I am very excited about this webinar today. Paul's going to go through a few things about Green Salon Collective. The webinar is recorded, so we will email it around, and you do also have the chat box at the bottom should you have any questions. So over to you, Paul.
Perfect. All right. Thanks. Thanks for having us, Cara, and nice to meet you, everyone. So, yeah, as Cara said, my name is Paul. I work at Green Salon Collective, and today the idea of the webinar is just to give you a bit of insight into what we're working with in terms of environmental sustainability, but also the main reason why we are working together with Cara and the team at SalonIQ, and that tips over more into financial sustainability. So I'm just going to give you a bit of a background as to what Green Salon Collective do and what we're up to right now, and then we're going to transition over into what we do together with our partner Salon IQ, and then I'll let Cara give you a quick run through as to yeah, how we're working together. So by all means, I'd much rather this to be a bit of a conversation rather than hearing my voice for the next 30 minutes. So if there are any questions or anything, just stop me. I'm going to go into a presentation mode, so I'm not going to be able to see anyone's faces. So either drop them in the chat and Cara, you just shout them out as we go, or feel free to
Yeah.
unmute yourself and ask questions. So let's get into it. Just give me an okay, Cara, if we're in full screen now.
Yeah, amazing. Full screen, perfect.
Perfect. Great. All right. Welcome, everybody. So, yeah, as I mentioned, today's going to be a bit about what we're doing from an environmental perspective, bearing in mind our ethos and whole mission, if you like, is how to make salons in this industry more sustainable. But what we've been seeing over the last 2 to 3 years is actually, as a byproduct of becoming more environmentally sustainable, how salons are becoming financially sustainable as well. And I feel like the financial aspect is maybe more so a hot topic right now, given everything that we hear with economies and how businesses are potentially finding it at times a bit more challenging. So, just to give you a bit of background, what does the UK waste scene look like? So, unfortunately, the picture on the right here is what happens far too often with our waste from the salon, and that is the picture of a landfill. So, due to the fact we're working with a lot of mixed waste streams, we're working with colors, chemicals, etc. From a recycling perspective, it makes it very, very difficult when these different items come into contact with each other. We get something what's called cross-contamination. So I am going to ask you if you want to interact, just I'm going to ask a couple of questions. So if anyone would like to hazard a guess, does anyone have an idea as to how long a piece of hairdressing foil would take to break down if it ended up in landfill, which it most likely would?
I reckon a while. We've got someone saying 5 years in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Thanks for being brave in the first one. Anyone else want to take a guess?
I was going to say 12 months, but now that they've said 5 years, I might be wrong.
Okay. Well, I'll give the third person
Over 1,000 years.
over a
Thank
thousand
you.
years. All right. Okay. Who was that was talking? It sounded I
That was
recognise.
David Middleton. I spoke to you a few weeks ago, and my lady friend asked me to sit in on this.
Yeah, I thought I recognised the voice, David. Yeah.
So I'll be brave and start my video now that I've outed myself.
Yeah. All right. Well, they say on average it takes about 400 years. Now, there's obviously going to be nuances there, but the thing with aluminium, foil, color tubes, etc., it's a commodity that is an extremely valuable commodity that can be recycled infinitely. So if it's handled in the right way, it can be recycled back into the original product that it was, whether that be a piece of hairdressing foil, whether that be a color tube, whether that be a Coke can. But unfortunately, as you probably realize, landfill conditions are not exactly ideal for the breakdown of such a waste stream. So the second question is, would anyone hazard a guess as to what happens with hair if that ends up in landfill? Anyone in the chat?
I would say hair would be a lot less than foil.
Yeah, sorry, Cara, I might not have explained that properly. I'm actually thinking, rather than the time on this one, I'm just thinking more as what actually happens if hair is dropped into landfill. Do we have any idea of the effect that it might cause on the environment?
No.
No,
It'll biodegrade into methane.
100%. There we go. So it actually releases potent greenhouse gas. So it will biodegrade, but not being the optimal conditions of the perfect composting mix, it will give off methane. So I would like to ask who, and I imagine there's quite a lot of you in the chat. I can't see you, but for anyone that's been in our industry for the last 10 years, we estimate on average that a stylist doesn't end up looking like this, but would throw away and probably divert around this amount of waste to landfill over that period of a 10-year career. And it's like I said at the start of the meeting, a lot of it is due to the cross-contamination of the things that we're dealing with and the difficulties that actually causes for recycling. I actually read some data out of the UK last week, and it said that they estimate out of all of the waste that we put in recycling bins, whether that be a home or in the business, it's estimated that in the region of between 10 and maximum 15% is actually recovered and recycled. And again, it's like I said, a lot of it is due to the challenges that we face when all of these different waste streams interact with each other. So how are we trying to solve that? Well, what we're doing at Green Salon Collective, we're trying to make it simple and basically provide a system that will guarantee recycling of specifically hair and foils, color tubes, cans, etc., and then also compostable single-use towels. And the only way that we can guarantee that this can be done is to cut out the cross-contamination. And that means to separate and collect these waste streams as individual streams. So we simply do that by providing a salon, a bin in salon, just like a bin you would have at home, a recycling bin with a bin liner, where a salon will put all of their hair into one bin. They'll then have a second bin where they'll put all of their dirty foils, color tubes, cans, canisters, etc. And then for those that are using compostable, if you like, single-use towels, they would then have a third bin that they can place those towels. And that way, all of these waste streams are kept separated and then can be recycled. Just like you would do at home, the salon will tie up their bags of hair, their bags of metal, and then place them into what we call a returns box. And that returns box is a reinforced box that the salon uses. I call it our equivalent of a council wheelie bin. So the salon will place their individual waste streams of hair, metal, and potentially towels into one of these reinforced boxes. And when and only when that box is full, the salon will book a collection and then we will come and pick that box up. And this process of these return boxes just repeats itself for as long as the collections or the salon wants to recycle these waste streams. So, yeah, and for example, metal is pretty straightforward. It goes through an aluminium smelter and, as I mentioned, gets reproduced back into new aluminium items. The hair can be used in many different ways. It can be used in these things here, like hair mats, which can be used for storm drain covers to stop waste going into the drains. It can be used for biomechanics if there's like spilling oil in the workshop. We also use it in hair booms to extract oil out of waters if there's been any oil spill. And we also use it in even things like gardening rope and gardening twine. So many different ways that we can utilize it, as well as UK composting as well for farming. So this is a clip that you see from an oil spill off the coast of Ireland, where we deployed hundreds of these hair booms, which is basically a cotton sock filled with hair, and we're able to not only contain the oil in an area, but it will also adsorb, not absorb, but adsorb with a D, which means that the oil won't be absorbed into the hair, but it will actually sit on the hair. Just like when we get greasy hair, because the oil is sat actually on the hair. It's the same thing with this. So we're able to use it to extract oil out of dirty waters, for example. So that's the recycling part of things. And a lot of people think, yeah, great. I'll do anything I can for the environment. We all need to do our bit, right? So sign me up. But far too often, I get a but there's a challenge. And the challenge that I hear on a daily basis is it's all well and good, me wanting to save the environment, but first and foremost, I need to prioritize my business and potentially save my business. That's what I hear from some salon owners, unfortunately. So the thought of them taking on any additional cost is just out of the question. We're trying to cut costs here. We're not trying to increase our costs. That's the common response that I hear. You know, the cost of living increase, everything's going up. If we haven't done already, we're due to put our prices up in 2025. I can't then potentially ask my client for any more by increasing my prices. So that is the big barrier that we face. What's really interesting, though, is actually to look, okay, that's fine from a salon owner's, a business owner's perspective. But how about we actually look at what the data says? What do our consumers actually want? And this is where it gets really interesting, because you don't have to look too far to find out that UK consumers are willing to pay more if they know that a product is more ethical, if it's more sustainable, if it's better for you, better for the environment. If they have the option of two products, a large percentage of consumers are actually willing to pay slightly more if they know they can get the better version. And it's probably no surprise, but when you start looking at the younger generation, millennials, then the majority of those guys will always choose the ethical, sustainable solution or option, whether that be a service, a product, whatever it may be, over the perceived non-sustainable version or the equivalent. So, how can we use this to our advantage as business owners? Bearing in mind, like I've just said, we don't want to be increasing our costs. How can we potentially, best use this? And this is where our partnership with SalonIQ comes into it, because we work with around 1,200-1,400 salons across the UK. And there's a very good chance that if you walk into a salon that's recycling with GSC, that as a client, you will go to pay your bill at the end of your visit, and you will pay for your cut and your colour, and that bill might be £248, and you will be invited to contribute with a £1 sustainability contribution. A lot of them refer to it as a green fee. So some of you might have heard of that term. But this gives the client the opportunity to actually, well, one, a feel-good factor, because they get the opportunity to basically pay for something that they have directly created, i.e. been a load of waste on your hair, which is unfortunately going to be ended up in landfill. There's the feel-good factor from the client, but there's also the opportunity from the business that we can offer a sustainable service. But most importantly, we have clientele that are actually willing to pay more for a more sustainable, more ethical salon experience. So we have a clientele that are willing to pay for it. We just need to give them the opportunity. And this is where SalonIQ have helped facilitate a feature in their software, which easily allows salons, and there are many salons across the UK now with SalonIQ that are using this feature, that have it deployed, that when a client goes to pay that bill, automatically this optional green fee appears on the bill. So, Cara, would you like to maybe jump in and say a few words about the facilitating that for salons?
Yeah, so we've got actually quite a lot of salons who are doing the green fee already currently in the system. I'm just going to quickly share my screen so I can show you how to set it up. It's very, very simple. So I'm just going to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Just wait, what's happening? It says started sharing on my end, but oh, now I can, yeah.
You can see it sometimes just takes a couple of seconds. So I'm going to show you the first thing you need to do. So the first thing you need to do is create a service. So to do that, we'll go into settings and then services. You'll see a button add service in the top right hand side. But I'm going to search for green fee. So you'll see I've added a service called green fee. My price for my green fee is £2. The duration of this is 0, very important. So it's not taken away any time in the appointment book. And then I set it to commission type, no commission on service. And that's here at the bottom. Okay. So that's the very first thing that you need to do is create your service first, call it your green fee. Once we've done that, we then go to settings and then salons. And in here, we're going to click on settings on the left-hand side. And you will see that there is a surcharge service. And I'm going to click on change and I'm going to choose the green fee. Okay, so I've attached my green fee as my surcharge service. And the other thing that is really important as well is the OTC team member. We've got an OTC team member, which means that any of the surcharges that are processed through the system will be added into the OTC team member and not the actual team member. Okay, so you're not going to see any of these green fees on their dashboards or any of their reports. It's keeping that part separate. So I'm going to click on save on that and then I'll show you how it works on the appointment page. So you would go onto your appointments and you would make a booking as normal. And what you'll find is that the very first time you set this up, that it will also apply to any other bookings that you already have in the salon. Oh, I need a deposit, so I'm going to use Sam instead. Okay. Doesn't like my record card today. Yeah. Okay. So you would make your booking as normal. So you would choose your booking. And at this point, everyone goes, I can't see it. There's no green fee on there. What you do need to do is save the appointment. Once that's saved, my appointment has been made. And we've got that in here. And then when you click, and when you hover over the appointment now, I can see it says green fee. So we've got blow dry and we've got green fee. If I then click on this, you'll see the blow dry is booked in with Karen, but the green fee is going over the OTC retail. So those figures for the green fee that are taken today are not going to be on the team members' figures on the dashboard. And then once you check them out, I think, Paul, you'll go through this again in a minute. But sometimes we do get asked, well, what if the client doesn't want to pay the green fee? And it's very rare that that happens, but you've got the edit pencil on the left-hand side, and then you can just delete the service. So you can delete the service at the checkout screen if you want to. So we would just take the payment as normal, complete that bill. That will then go through on Karen's name, and then the retail will have all of the green fees against that team member. And that's how simple it is. It's really, really simple to pop it through. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen now. But any salons that I know who are already using it, I've seen charges from £1 to £3. So we do see some salons that are charging different pricing for it.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, Cara, because there are some that are charging more than the pound. I just base the numbers off the pound because that's what we see most often. But This is not something that Green Salon Collective, if you like, get involved in or impose. This is something that the salons off their own back have decided to apply and basically reaping the rewards. So just to put, I don't have many slides left, but I'll just let me just reshare where we were. Obviously, one of the most no, I need to share it 1 second. We're
Yeah,
back in.
yeah.
So obviously well, let's just finish off with that, what Cara was mentioning. So once or twice a year, we'll send out a survey to all of the salons that we work with. And the respondents that charge a green fee, like I said, on average £1, but like Cara said, there are some that charge 2, 3. I spoke to one the other day in London that was actually charging 5. But the most important thing to realize is it is optional. Cara showed you how easy it is to remove that if you have a client that doesn't want to pay for a more sustainable service. But the most important thing for getting such a high, if you like, opt-in rate, and the average rate that we saw on the last survey was 95% of clients that contribute, is the actual education towards the client. So when a client joins Green Salon Collective, yep, they get the boring stuff, they get the recycling bins, they get the bin liners, the box of the collection, but more importantly, they get the in-salon marketing material and the online marketing collateral as well, that all works towards educating the client from the moment that they walk into the salon. They're presented with a small struck card that will inform them that we as a business have now taken an active decision to be a more sustainable business, offering our clients a more sustainable solution or service. And with that, you will be offered the opportunity to contribute with an environmental contribution, a green fee. And then from there, they will sit in the chair and they will most likely see a mirror sticker on the mirror in front of them. And that will also then say, oh, Mr. Client, Mrs. Client, did you know that your hair in this salon turns into this, or your aluminium is recycled? With small QR codes that if the client wants to read into it more and educate themselves, they can simply scan it whilst they're sat there for an hour or two in the salon and learn more about all the processes, actually what that salon it is doing. And then from there, when they finally come to check out and pay the bill at the counter, again, they will be presented with a small card that will say, okay, you will now be offered the opportunity to contribute. We don't set the amount on there. On our collateral, there's nothing that mentions a £1 green fee. That is down to you as a salon to decide. And then that is when, as Cara showed you, the client will be offered that opportunity. So when it's done correctly and the client has been taken on, doesn't have to be in depth. You don't need to know the ins and outs of recycling. Stylists don't need to know that. But when they go along this small journey, and the first time and probably the second time, that will be enough. They'll not need to go into it again. But once they've been through that little education journey, by the time they come to pay their £248 bill, and they get offered the opportunity to contribute with £1, in the grand scheme of things, and once they've been educated as to what that goes towards, and the difference it makes for the service that they're purchasing, there's probably no surprise why we see such high opt-in rates for clients paying the £1. So were there any questions around that?
I haven't got any questions in the comments. I do know from the salons that are using it, they kind of do it the opposite way around. All of the clients are opted in, which is why it's added to the service, and then it's up to the client then to opt out at the end. But I see it's quite rare that someone says no.
Yeah.
We do have a question actually. Will the green fee show on SalonIQ pay machine at checkout? Yes, exactly the same. So we have IQ Pay. When you're taking the client's bill, if the bill is £42 and you're doing a green fee, it would show £43 or however much it is that you're going to charge them for the green fee. So yes.
I just want to touch on what you just said there, because that's a very important point, Cara. And maybe I wasn't clear, but the key here again to achieving such high I was referring to opt-in rates, and that was probably misleading because you're 100% right. All of the salons that do this correctly and see these numbers, they have it on there already. So it's actually an opt-out. They're already opted in by default, if you like. So that's a very good point, Cara.
I think no other questions.
No, okay.
Amazing. Thank you, Paul. Learn so much. It's
Yeah.
brilliant that, the things like this that we don't get. I mean, obviously they get a lot taught about it in school now, which is why you were referring to the generation thing, because you do find that there's a lot of younger people who are really into saving the environment. So brilliant.
Yeah, and I'd just like to say thank you to you as well, Cara, because you're obviously making it easy for salons to add this on. Not all software companies have done this, so it's great that if a salon is part of SalonIQ, then they can easily, like I say, offer this as not only opportunities to clients, but maybe most importantly to themselves as a business. So
Yeah.
if anyone would like any more information, just to find out if it could potentially work, then by all means, either drop me an email. There's my email there. And I didn't put this on the slide, but we would like to offer a 15% discount for all Salon IQ clients that want to potentially start that journey and join on board with us. So that's something that we can talk about if you want to reach out to me. But yeah, by all means, any questions, drop me an email, ring me, or yeah, or go through Cara.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Paul. The webinar will be recorded. We will also email it around to everybody. If you've got any questions, obviously you can reach out to myself and Paul. But yeah.
Thanks for having us, Cara.
Okay. All right. Amazing. Have a great week, everybody.
Have a good one, everyone. Thanks for
Thank you.
joining.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.